First of all, the UK scheme to pay wages of workers on leave because of coronavirus will be extended to October. Chancellor Rishi Sunak confirmed earlier that employees will continue to receive 80% of their monthly wages up to £2,500. But he said the government will ask companies to start sharing the cost of the scheme from August. Some 7.5 million workers are now covered by the scheme, up from 6.3 million last week. Stephen Henagulph is the Chief Executive of Somerset Chamber of Commerce. He joins me this evening. Stephen, thank you very much for your time today. Is this good news for many businesses and staff?
Yeah, I think it is. We've been asking for a long time to see an extension of the existing furlough scheme. The challenge we have is this isn't going to be an instant light switch on. If the original scheme, which was due to end at the end of June, finished, there were an enormous amount of workers, particularly in the hospitality, pub, restaurant and visitor destination type venues that couldn't just go back to work because their employers, the businesses, weren't getting any money coming into the business. So this is a help and certainly a lifeline for cash flow into businesses.
What would be an acceptable amount, in your opinion, for companies to be able to contribute? Because lots of businesses won't be making any money by August at all.
Yeah, I mean, look, the realistic situation is there are a lot of businesses that can't reclaim, particularly in restaurants, hospitality, pubs, that have lost Mother's Day, they've lost Easter, they've lost the bank holidays, they've lost half term, they're going to lose a proportion of their summer trade. They'll be very lucky if they see any profit at all. So the answer to that is it's really difficult to give an answer for one particular business, but I think we need to see this gradual return to work. We want to see people returning to work. We need to see a start for our tourism, leisure, holiday parks, caravan parks, pubs and restaurants, but it has to be done safely. So it's a real dilemma this time. There isn't a quick, simple fix as the answer is it should be 60% or 70%. My understanding is that we're looking at perhaps from August onwards through to October, the government committing to around 60% and the difference being made up by the employer. But that's okay if the employer has enough cash flow or if there isn't money in the business. But as you quite rightly point out, a lot of these businesses now have not been trading for up to 8 weeks and have no money in the business.
And I know that you've previously said that this isn't a one-size-fits-all scheme. And so when people are heading back to work, there may not actually be work for them to do. How do we get around that?
It's got to be gradual. I think the one thing that the Chambers has said, there isn't simply a today we're furloughed, tomorrow all back in work. There has to be a gradual transition into this, and that's encouraged both by the amount of COVID numbers of people that are contracting it, and that keeps going down. We hear about the R factor. That's the most important thing. The Chamber's always said it's about the health and the welfare of the population. But secondly, they've got to go back to work. We've got to get money back into the system, back into the business community. So a gradual phasing and what the Chancellor has suggested in terms of extending for another month is really good news. The phasing really, if businesses have something there, they've obtained the grant or they have managed to get either the coronavirus CBILS loan or the bounce back loan, which in loan terms is the best one to get because there's nothing to pay for the first year. Fixed at 2.5%, so that will give them the starter they need. If they had a viable business before the coronavirus hit, they'll have one afterwards if they can get the cash going through the business and get one of these loans or certainly benefit from the grant. The trouble is those businesses that fall between a rock and a hard place. We've seen some of the larger businesses that don't get the exemption on the 51,000 rates. And also, and it was mentioned today at Prime Minister's Question Time, business they have a fault of their own as directors of a company taken the tax initiative of paying themselves a dividend and a very small salary. We still haven't seen those types of business being looked after. So there will be some that fall between the cracks.
And just finally, Stephen, what's your feeling about tomorrow in Somerset? Many businesses going to be reopening here.
I think it's got to be gradual. We've got to see it gradual, and we would advocate, as all other business organisations have, it's about the health and the well-being of the people first and foremost. And if we can do it by safe distancing and a gradual return to work, then we would say absolutely yes. If we can't do that, I've said before, at the moment what we're doing is kicking that tin can down the road. We don't have a vaccine for it, we don't have a cure for it, and we don't have widespread testing. So we have to be really sensible about how we go back to work.
Stephen, thank you very much for your time. Stay safe yourself. That's Stephen Henagulph, the Chief Executive of Somerset Chamber of Commerce.
Matt Faulkner.